Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I have a special guest on the podcast, Ginny Marsh. So, hey, Ginny.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to get a lot of value out of today's conversation. So, thanks so much. So, Ginny is a certified body confidence and well-being coach at Gorgeous You Coaching and an award-winning photographer at Gorgeous You Photography, who has been working with women for more than 10 years to help them feel empowered and celebrate body confidence through boudoir and personal branding shoots, and now one-to-one coaching. Whether you want more body confidence to celebrate a milestone, to be more visible in your business, or help with some dating or improving your relationships, Ginny is your girl. Ginny believes passionately in helping women in front of a camera and empowering them to be more body confident. So, Ginny, I'm giving the listeners a little bit of an introduction about you. So, do you want to add anything to that and just tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into this area?
Yeah, that was an amazing intro. So I'll add a little bit to it. I've been a boudoir photographer started my business in 2010. So that has been my main passion sort of going through. I did actually start off as a wedding photographer, but I actually reached burnout in 2018, the beginning of, and that was when I really changed direction in my business and found self-love, basically, because I was not loving myself in the slightest before that. I was doing all the things in my business. I was basically devoting myself to my business, working 24/7. I had no social life, no love life. I just wasn't doing anything for myself. I'd lost all my hobbies. And then kind of my body decided to tell me that actually I needed to do something about it. And that was basically manifested in the form of severe exhaustion, and just I didn't know what had hit me. It was just like I'd never experienced anything like it. I had it it was kind of on and off for about 5 or 6 months, and it felt like full-on flu symptoms that sometimes lasted for weeks at a time. And I went to the doctors, got blood tests, and they were like, no, nothing's wrong with you, you're fine. I was like, no, I'm not fine. So that's when I realized the actual power that the mind and the body have, the connection. And basically researched all about self-love and started from there, really. I now focus on my real true passion, and that is helping women with body confidence. I'd love to be able to help men as well, but so far no men have come to me saying, hey, I need some help with body confidence. So if there are any men listening, then do say. But women are my main clients, and the boudoir photography helped with that throughout, my career so far. But I always knew there was something more that I wanted to help them with, because a photo shoot wasn't going to fix it. It was much deeper than that. They came to me thinking that a photo shoot would fix it all, and I kind of knew that whilst it helps, it definitely helps, it doesn't get to the root cause of the issue. So the first lockdown, presented me with that opportunity, as I'm sure it did a lot of people, to kind of have that reflection and think, okay, so I can't do what I normally do. What else can I do? I can actually train as a body confidence coach. So it was amazing. It was a total blessing for me.
Brilliant. And that's really well outlined your journey there. And yeah, I like what you touched on as well about, obviously some women may struggle with body confidence, but also you said some men might struggle with body confidence. I think that's really important. And guys, if you're listening and you do feel like you might struggle with a bit of body confidence, don't be ashamed or embarrassed about that. It's a thing that many men go through, that I certainly know from research, and Ginny obviously knows from research as well and working in this area. So thank you for pointing that out. It's really useful that you you pointed out you started listening to your body, and that's obviously a really good starting point. And then you started looking at the body and mind connection a little bit, and then you realize you needed to give yourself a little bit more self-love. So what would you say was some of the maybe the few main things that you started doing for yourself in terms of that self-love?
Well, firstly, I Googled it and I realized that actually when you need to find something out, Google it. simple answers. So yeah, I Googled everything to do with self-love and how to love myself more. And so I firstly started to actually give myself time off. That was the first thing that I did. And my business did actually suffer as a result at the start. I mean, you know, getting severe exhaustion definitely stopped me from doing as much as I normally do. So that forced me to stop and take some time off. But then I started to think, okay, so if I'm not working, what else do I enjoy doing? And oh my God, like it took me a little while to actually get into that right mindset of actually allowing myself to do other stuff that I enjoyed and try different things out as well. But I started running. So I did the Couch to 5K because I thought, well, hey, I'm rubbish at running, but I need to get fitter. So why don't I just start with that Couch to 5K? And that took me in little steps. And that really builds your self-esteem as well when you reach each little milestone as well. So that was a real confidence booster and a boost of self-esteem for me. Because each week I would tell myself, oh, I'm not going to finish it this week, you know, I'm never going to reach that goal, but I'm just going to do today and see what happens. And each day I did it and I got to the next step and I surprised myself time and time again, and that actually proved to myself that actually I can do stuff. I went on a diet, and I'm not saying, you know, people need to go on diets, but for me, I had totally lost touch and respect for my body and I wasn't eating right. So I wanted to learn how to eat better again. And I ended up losing, you know, 1.5 stone, which was amazing. It made me
Brilliant.
feel so much more energized in my body that I was just like, oh my God, this like feels so much better. So yeah, it carried on from there really. And then I started some new hobbies. I started learning to play the piano. You know, all this stuff that I just hadn't even given time to before. I started reading. I'm still kind of rubbish at reading, to be honest, but I got an Audible subscription, so that forced me to actually listen to it instead of having to read it, and that totally worked. So yeah, just little things like that really, starting to actually give yourself days off, time off, and actually dedicate time in the diary to do it as well. So that was a massive thing.
So it sounds like there's quite a lot of self-discovery in that self-love and kind of and trying new things and giving yourself the opportunity, giving yourself a bit more variety as well in life. Yeah. Awesome. So in terms of some of the, you know, the people you've worked with or researched or maybe discovered in your own journey, what are some of the limiting beliefs you discover from people you're working with perhaps struggles with their body confidence?
So many people have, I mean, loads of different limiting beliefs, but it all kind of stems down to, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I don't feel worthy enough. I'm not lovable enough. Like those are the core ones. There are other ones that kind of stem off that, but if you really boil down to the core issues, it comes from that basically. And these were my own as well. And you know, fears come into it as well, like fear of rejection, you know, fear of getting depressed, things like that. So yeah, I mean, the body confidence coaching isn't just to do with the physical body. It's so much more than that. It's about mindset, it's about emotions, it's about your soul purpose. So I kind of help people with those as well. Like limiting beliefs is a massive thing. So yeah, I'm reframing a lot, helping my clients reframe a lot of their limiting beliefs at the moment and turning them into positive affirmations. But it's something that, you know, even I have to keep remembering to do it, because it's so easy to do it once and then forget. So it's the repetition and building habits as well.
Yeah, love that. And I love what you said about, as also we come up with all these different fears, like you said about the fear of rejection, or maybe other fears like life not being or getting down, I think you said, and those things. But yeah, there's generally these, and I know this from sort of some learning and my experience working with clients as you do, it often does stem down to the I'm not enough and I'm not lovable, because they're kind of survival things as well, that we want to fit in with people and fit in with life. And those are the two biggest fears. So sometimes I'm glad you're kind of, you're in this area and helping people really uncover those and then work them. And it sounds, and like you, I also glad you touched on the fact that sometimes you have to work through your own. I have to work through my own sometimes as well. There's people, who celebrities we see and famous people and people you might admire and might be your role models. They've admitted, I follow people and they're like, oh yeah, I have to work through some limiting beliefs. I had this challenge. So, limiting beliefs could always pop up, but it's kind of how much they hold you back in life is, or how you respond to them is how much they're going to like limit you a little bit. And I definitely agree with the repetition you said there as well. I mean, it's like, this is a cliche, but going to the gym obviously once, it's not going to make you suddenly in shape and fitness, but it's like what you say to yourself and training your beliefs and your emotions. Doing it once or twice or for a week, it's not going to change your life and these beliefs, but repetition. So really, really.
And it's not just about reaching that goal. It's about the journey and enjoying the process as well, and forming like healthy habits every single day to enrich your life and just make it better.
Yeah, love what you said about the journey. Totally. And do you often get that, like, how? I mean, I've been sort of asked the question. I always have to explain, but I don't know if you've had the question of, how long is it going to take me to get into that shape, or how long is it going to take me? Is that something you've kind of come across?
A bit so far, yeah, and not so much yet. But yeah, it's definitely something that, quite often when people reach the end of a coaching period, like so many sessions, for instance, they think there should be some like magical, like, ta-da, you've reached it and you've achieved all this stuff, and like they feel like some kind of like, fireworks should go off and they should have like some enlightening moment. But actually it's a constant process and they are ever evolving, and sometimes it takes a long time for people to change their mindset and for them to actually get the results that they want from their new habits. And it's just about getting them to recognize that, and also track their progress and actually keep gratitude journal for everything that they're doing, and actually recognizing what they've achieved. Because so often we kind of go through life like ticking stuff off our to-do list, and we get to the end and then think, oh, well, what have I actually done? But actually we forget what we have actually done. So when you actually write down at the end of the day and think, oh, I'm so grateful because I've achieved this, this, and this. Or at the end of the week, oh my God, I've come so far this week because I've done this, this, and this. That makes it so much more like set in stone in your brain, I think.
Brilliant point about celebrating along the way. And when you this is some of my neuropsychology, when you sort of like praise yourself, you're more likely to do it again and learn better as well by praising yourself, than just I've done this and then it just been another thing you're ticking by. Really appreciate what you say about praising ourselves, because it's most human beings, I've certainly met it and myself in the past, it's very common for us to think, oh, made a mistake, oh, I'm awful, done something right, next thing. It's just no, it's a journey, and you're just enjoying it along the way as you're kind of touching on.
Exactly. And rewards as well, like giving yourself rewards for doing things. It's that positive reinforcement, because like if like anyone's like me, for instance, I still do, to be honest, I just do stuff because I want to do it, and actually I don't really fully appreciate doing it because it's not like a reward for doing something else. So when you can actually give yourself a reward of something that you really love doing, or something that you really love, buying, there's lots of different types of rewards. It's not just about monetary rewards. It could be about doing stuff with your friends, or it could be about even giving yourself an at-home pamper day or whatever, some self-care. When you actually recognize that and reward yourself for doing something else, then you're like, oh, I'm doing this because I did that. That makes that even more rewarding, and I'm going to do that again because then I'll get that again. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, love it. And one of my group mentors and guy I learned from a lot, Joseph McClendon, as you know, from UPW, he's one of Tony Robbins' business partners. He's always reinforcing that from his years and years of experience, that you've got to reward, and it makes the nervous system go, oh, let's do it again. So definitely agree that. And he has a very funny way of teaching it as well. He's brilliant.
It's hilarious.
No, thanks for that, Ginny. And then what I was also going to ask you about was, obviously we just talked about limiting beliefs, and then we talked about some of the ways around it, but what would you say are some of the cause? I mean, there could be many, but what are some of the causes you find for people having this lack of body confidence?
Well, a lot of it is caused from a very young age, to be honest. I mean, there are so many things in life that kind of chip away at our body confidence, and it could be something very small that just happens so many times. But quite often it all starts at a very early age in childhood, because from the ages of 0 to 7 or 8, we form the impression of who we are and our personality and what it means to be in this world and the society that we live in, because we obviously get told by our parents, carers, friends, family, teachers. We get told who we are. We get told what we're like, and we get told about who we should be. And so basically from such a young age, when you're, for ages from 0 to 7 or 8, your brain doesn't actually know what's right or wrong, or, it basically believes everything that it's told. So, that is usually something in those very early years that gives us that, impression of who we are and what we should be like. And the media doesn't help either. I mean, so yeah, we are constantly being primed, basically, to tell us, what we should be like and who we should be, and what it means to be beautiful. And exactly. So yeah, that's where it starts, basically.
Yeah, and what you said about primed, it kind of touches on in sort of maybe a negative way, but sort of what we talked about previously, about repetition with like, media and maybe negative information coming at us, or kind of images that might make us feel a bit insecure or inadequate. Then that's constantly being repeated, so that's going to the brain, and then to sort of add that a little bit, as you'll say, I like what you say about 0 to 7, really forming that identity, that can impact on people.
Yeah, so it can be really helpful actually for you to just question, actually, what were the things that you heard your parents tell you when you were little? And what did you hear repeatedly? And what did they tell you about your body? And what did they tell you about who you are and your personality? And what did they tell you about what you should look like? There are so many things that I can recall from my own childhood, like even, grandparents, like every time I saw them, they were like, oh, haven't you grown? Or, oh, haven't you put on a few pounds? Or, things like that really like have a massive impact, and they don't realize. And even parents, even even like your parents, if they have been on a diet, for instance, like constantly, or if they're worried about their own weight or appearance and things like that, that basically tells you that that's the norm and that's what you should be worried about as well. So you just kind of pick up those bad habits as well. So yeah, it's really interesting to kind of really actually look back to and question what actually was your childhood like, what were your parents like, what did they tell you, and what were you told by other people?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And your environment can have a big impact on you, certainly. When you're growing up, and now, if you got, like, as they say, if you got, I think the phrase is proximity is power. I think Jim Rohn originally came out of that, or someone that's probably passed on generations.
Probably.
But yeah, it's very true. Like, you obviously you grow up in an environment that creates your learning into what you're picking up, and that can create some of these beliefs, as you were saying. But also, like, the people you're with day in, day out can impact it, and then the information you're taking in. So yeah, certainly relate to that. So yeah, thanks for kind of sharing that side of things. And I also think it's a lot of the time, you might have uncovered this as well, that people are on autopilot mode a lot of the time, and we've not got this awareness necessarily until we approach a coach or someone to help us outside. So
yeah,
certainly if we're constantly still playing those records of I'm not good enough or my body's inadequate, then that's going to continue unless you consciously acknowledge it and then think of a kind of a ritual how you're going to reverse that. So I guess that's a lot of your work as well, helping them with that initial awareness.
Exactly. Yeah. And even working out where that belief first came from is just like an absolute like eye-opener. Seriously, like when I realized actually where thought my limiting beliefs came from, like, I don't feel lovable enough, or even my fear of being visible, for instance, that I've overcome, because obviously there was a time that I would even be like a rabbit in headlights, even on a Zoom call like this. And when you can really work out where that came from, it's just like, oh my God, I believe that because of that circumstance. And when you realize that actually it's only a belief that's not actually true, because if you didn't believe that, then you could do so much more with it. Then it's just like a complete game changer.
Yeah, awesome. And you've given like a couple of bits already, but obviously in terms of when people are trying to get over or trying to improve their body confidence within themselves, what are some of there's probably lots of ways it's got to be right for the individual, but what are a few habits that you would maybe give someone advice on this in this area?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on the individual and what their, issues are, but really simple things for anyone to do that I would totally recommend are things like gratitude, actually recognizing what your body can do and being grateful for it, because so many times we just criticize ourselves and our bodies for not being able to do the things that we want, for not looking in a certain way. And we're constantly focusing on those negative things, thinking, I wish I could be thinner, or I wish I could be more muscly, or I wish I could be this, that, the other. And if you actually think, actually, all the stuff that your body can do that you're grateful for, like, I'm so grateful that my legs can walk. I'm so grateful that my arms can lift the stuff that I need to carry. I'm so grateful that I can hug the people that I want, that I love. I'm so grateful. Even like the belly is a big issue for a lot of my clients. They quite often they hate their belly, and they're just like, I can't possibly find anything to love about it whatsoever. And then I ask them, okay, but what is actually the good stuff that your belly can do? It can digest your food. Think internally. There's so much going on inside your body that you don't even think about. That's just like a complete miracle, because there's the blood running through your veins. There's your heart pumping. Your lungs are breathing oxygen, and you're not even thinking about it. You just do that automatically. So when you start to really kind of like focus on the detail and think, oh my God, my body is actually a complete miracle, then that is just like, it's just like makes you feel so much more gratitude for being alive and for what you have. And then you can start to focus on being more loving towards it, basically. So that's a good start. And you know, affirmations are a massive one. What you tell yourself about your body and about yourself and your mind is just, yeah, that is fundamental, I think, to anything, because you know, the words that we say have a massive impact on our reality, because they basically cause us to act and behave in a certain way, which then creates the reality around us. So when you start with those words of affirmation, you can actually change your beliefs about yourself and then change the way that you behave and change your reality. Yeah, it just, you know, obviously, you know, and it just goes on basically, but you can make a massive impact that way.
Yeah, be very careful with the words that follow I am. I always think, because that's linking to your identity. So I'm an idiot, saying that constantly. But I just said it's just saying that out loud. So my brain's like, what? Like, I'm in a state now. It's just like, that's not you. What are you on about? Even just saying it in a joking way. But there was one point where I just say it constantly. So yeah, be very, so saying that I am amazing every day, and that feels very comfortable and natural when I said that. But that's what I want most people to get, and I'm sure you do as well, saying powerful words after words I am, because it's linking it to your identity and your beliefs about yourself. So yeah, totally agree with that.
But they're also, like, a lot of my clients do actually like themselves as a person. They're very sort of proud of their abilities and you know, their achievements and their work status, and they know that they're very capable when it comes to work, but they forget about, you know, their appearance and who they are as a person, like when they're not attached to work. That's something that a lot of my clients struggle with. And so a lot of them tell themselves things like, you know, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not sexy enough, and you know, no one's going to love me if I'm fat, or you know, things like this. And it's those things that are really important to actually turn around and turn them into positive affirmations. There are so many different ones that, yeah, I could go on forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but actually, and also mirror work is a massive, you know, thing that people struggle with at first, but can be like amazing to overcome. Actually, and what I mean by mirror work is actually sitting in front of the mirror, looking at yourself and saying those positive affirmations to yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror. Because, oh my goodness, that, like, some of my clients can't even look at themselves in a mirror, let alone tell themselves nice things. So yeah, when we can get to that stage that they're actually able to look into a mirror and tell themselves something really positive about their appearance or themselves as a person, and actually feel good about it and be proud of it, oh my goodness, it makes me so happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, certainly. And yeah, it's great to obviously get those beliefs and then create that good relationship with yourself as well. And I love what you said about gratitude earlier as well, and actually thinking about, you know, all the human beings, all the things most of us do to our body, like in terms of maybe drink too much or eat the thing, you know, it's not to say you can't have a treat and stuff like that, but the amount of rubbish we probably put onto our body, the amount it's actually coping with, and appreciating that and how it's looking after you. That's a really good one. There's
definitely.
And I know you've probably come across him, Nick. I can never say his surname. Nick Santonsosa.
Sasso.
Yeah.
I can't say his surname either, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
But yeah, he's
because
yeah. Sorry, carry on, Ginny.
he has no legs and only one arm, or not even a full arm, right? And you know, he doesn't have the ability of a lot of people, and yet he's the most positive, like, empowering person, because he's just like, well, look what I can do, and he does it. It's amazing.
Exactly, yeah. And I was going to say, I've done one of his courses as well on confidence, and he's definitely someone I'd recommend on that. but he says he's so grateful, going back to your point of gratitude, that he's able to actually go to the gym and, you know, just do something with one arm and bodybuild, because unfortunately there's some people who aren't even able to do that due to any circumstances. So yeah, I think he was a key example when he started talking about gratitude. And but yeah, in terms of appreciating what your body can do, first of all, building on the strengths you've got already, even if it's hard to find at first, it's there. So thanks for pointing that one out as well. So Ginny, it's been a really great conversation. You've given us some great value, some great tips today. So just so people can find out more about you and follow you, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, both at Gorgeous You Coaching.
Yeah.
I am currently in the process of building my new website.
Awesome.
But I have a handy little guide that people can download in the meantime. And it's all about boosting your self-esteem, because that is one of the core issues that I feel people face with low self-esteem. You know, they come to me originally about either body confidence or something else, and actually the real issue is low self-esteem, and that's something that I've really suffered with as well. So something I'm so passionate about. So I've got a 12-page guide on everything to do with what it is, like how you know that you've got low self-esteem, what causes it, what it affects, and also there's like 6 steps to actually boost your self-esteem as well. So you can download that by either going on my Instagram page via the link in the bio at the moment. So yeah, and I've also got a Facebook group for women, sorry men, it's just for women at the moment, but it's for women mainly in business who have really low self-esteem, low self-worth. It's called Gorgeous You, the confidence to be unapologetically you. So it's all about being the best you, basically, and that's on Facebook. It's at Gorgeous You Confidence.
Brilliant. Awesome, Ginny. So what we'll do is we'll put all the information where people can find you just discussed, and including the guide and everything in the description. So that's awesome. So thank you once again, Ginny, for coming on today.
Oh, you're welcome. I really hope that some of the stuff that I've said has resonated with people listening, and that you can take some stuff and do it, you know, straight away. And obviously, if anybody needs any more help, I'd be more than happy to help and give you more tips.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ginny. And we'll speak to you in the next episode.